5 days a week, only on One American News.
Sure, the Emmy Awards, the Golden Mike Awards, and all the rest are nice, but what matters to me is giving perspective and proportion to the news. After 3 decades in electronic journalism, writing, reading, and reporting the news, I can finally say what I think. My goal is to talk about the events and the newsmakers of the day through a prism of which the founding fathers of this country would approve. And it's my promise to try and have a firm grasp on history so we know how the past relates to today. I'm Graham Ledger, and even when I'm wrong, I'm right.
All about bringing you the latest stories from across the globe, and most importantly, the facts from those events. The raw, unbiased, unopinionated facts. It's your nation, your news.
All right, welcome back, everybody. And again, we are in our grassroots citizen panel. My guest here in Southern California, Jeff Olson, a leading liberal activist here in Southern California, a vocal member of the Occupy movement. Also in Southern California here is Ernie White. Ernie is with the group Citizens Against Agenda 21. And in Washington, D.C. is the man on the street videographer for us and the Media Research Center, Dan Joseph. All right, gang, just before the break, we were showing the video of the police chief there in Gilberton, PA, North Philadelphia. He put a video on over the recent few days of pro-Second Amendment, pro-gun rights. Was using some vulgar language, has found himself fired. Ernie, Jeff Olson believes it was the right move, that the city council did the right thing, and he doesn't think the military should be voting, should be above the legal process. What do you think? Right thing, wrong thing?
I think it's up to them, but I think it's the wrong thing. I think you have finally a police officer, a chief of police, who actually wants to empower his community, who wants to make sure that they can withstand that yo-yo time. Cops have what they call yo-yo time. It's called you're on your own. When something's happening, you have to wait for them. They call that yo-yo time. And so he's empowering his people. All he's saying is, hey, you have a right to carry, you have a right to protect yourself, you have a right to protect your family, and you do not have enough time to wait for police to be anywhere when there's danger, including a Starbucks. Again, you don't hear anything about Starbucks because you're not here. If people are carrying, you're not going to hear about anybody.
Before we go to Dan Joseph, I want to ask Jeff Olson a question. What would you feel safer, Jeff, in Chicago, which has some of the strictest gun laws in America, or Dallas, Texas, which have some of the most lenient gun laws in America?
Right. Yeah, I understand. Chicago is a terrible place where they're having a mass amount of murder. It's really bizarre.
18 deaths in Chicago yesterday through gunshots.
That's right. You know, Chicago, Orlando, Houston, Dallas, the real scary thing is that this weekend more people will die, twice as many people will die in the United States than died at Columbine, Aurora, Newtown, Benghazi, Fort Hood, and the Navy shipyard combined. So you're not safe anywhere. There are crazy people with guns. Now there are blinded people with guns.
By the way, a moment ago I said 18 people killed. I meant 19 people shot in Chicago yesterday.
That's right.
And again, the toughest gun laws on the books. All right, let's go to Washington, D.C. And Dan Joseph. You know, Dan, you're at the Media Research Center. You guys track bias in the media. Had this police chief in Gilberton, Pennsylvania, North Philadelphia, had he been a liberal and done something let's say, in favor of gun control in a vulgar, profanity-laced way, aggressive way, do you think the reaction would have been the same?
You know, I'm not entirely sure, and I'm a little bit torn on this, because I think actually having a police chief who promotes the Second Amendment and reminds citizens that they have a right to protect themselves, I think that's a good thing. But on the other hand, the way he did it, from what I understand, was probably the wrong way to go about it. The profanity, the police chief is supposed to be a role model. You know, you have kids who are listening to this. Also, from what I understand, he referred specifically to liberals in his rants, and that's not necessarily a good thing. The police chief is supposed to be the police chief of all the people, and you don't want to alienate a specific group just because of their ideology. So while I agree with him, yes, the Second Amendment is something that the police force should be promoting. at the same time, I think he could have found a much more tactful way to do it.
I'm going to come out with Dan Joseph on this.
You nailed it, Dan.
I like the idea that he was promoting Second Amendment. I don't like the idea that the police chief was perhaps using language that polarized his community. I understand it was on his personal time, but he's a symbol.
Rick, I think you're right. Dan nailed it.
All right, let's go to our next topic. Earlier in the show, we had Dan Joseph on, and we talked about that there's a recent poll which shows that 62% of college grads say that college does not prepare them for life after college life. Dan Joseph told us that, in his opinion, one of the reasons is that the recent generation of college students are picking liberal arts majors and not majors which have a practical application. Let's take a look at this video that was done on the campus of one of this nation's most prestigious universities, USC, the University of Southern California. Let's take a look at this and see what our panel has to say.
Do you think that President Obama deserves his Nobel Peace Prize?
Sure.
What do you think he's done to kind of, promote?
No idea. That's still an opinion, right?
And I just feel like, in general, being a good guy, it just is creating a lot more peace and, like, mellow, and not so much anxiety among people.
What kinds of things has he done, do you think, to deserve it?
Helping economy get better. Yeah.
I really respect what he's done with foreign policy.
What things about foreign policy do you respect?
Yeah, I feel like he's strengthened diplomatic ties in countries.
It's like, what specifically do you mean in terms of strengthening ties?
Mostly good-natured intentions.
Right, Ernie White, you're laughing hard, as am I. Let's go to you. What say you?
I can't take it. I can't take it. This is our next generation. They know so much, and I guess right now, as long as you're a nice guy and you're a wonderful guy, and again, maybe the police officer we just saw just wasn't nice enough and didn't come across as a nice guy.
And they like what he's done for the economy.
And they like what he's done for the economy. And
the foreign policy is amazing.
And his foreign policy is great, especially if you ask Egypt and ask them how his foreign policy is, or ask Libya, or ask Benghazi, or ask Syria how the foreign policy is. So I think he should get some type of peace prize because we have not bombed Syria yet.
Jeff Olson, many on the left criticized Rush Limbaugh, and that's putting it mildly, for coining the phrase low information voter. They said there's no such thing as a low information voter. That is condescending, it's wrong, it's racist, it's this, it's that. Those were low information voters.
I think you're right, Rick. I think hope and change is probably prizeworthy. It probably deserves the prize for the best political slogan of the new millennium. But I'm not sure that hope and change is Peace Prize worthy. Now, if we're nominating for the Peace Prize, I think maybe
Putin.
Well,
you got to sound Syria.
I was going to say Snowden or maybe Manning, but I'm not sure hope and change is Peace Prize worthy.
Are you? You're on the left. You're an Occupy supporter. Do you support Barack Obama?
Yeah, I do. I mean, at this point, he's going to be our president for 3 more years, so I support the president.
Just rephrase that. Do you like the job he's doing?
On some things, I'm pretty pleased with his evolution on gay rights. Okay. I'm not stoked about where we're at with the economy. I think he's really going to drop the ball on Keystone XL. You know, there's nationwide protests being planned for tomorrow, Saturday.
What do you think is more important to America, the economy or gay rights?
Well, the economy, honestly.
Okay.
Personally, you know, I think it's great that I can marry my husband now, but
But you know what's more important to those college kids?
Let's go to Dan Joseph.
What's more important to those college kids that she was interviewing is gay rights. It's more important than Syria. It's more important than the economy. And that's the division there. That's why you're getting those kind of answers.
Yeah, you're right. All right. And Dan, maybe those students should have taken a different major.
Yeah, I don't know what they're all majoring in, but whatever it is, it's not doing them any good. You know, I'm a good guy. I'm good. Where's my Peace Prize, Rick? Where's my Peace Prize? I've been good all these years.
You know what's embarrassing to the University of Southern California, I think, what should be saddened to those parents, and I referenced it a moment ago, that is one of the most expensive schools in the country, and that's what we're getting right there. All right, I think that's it. We're about out of time. I want to thank our grassroots citizen panel, Jeff Olson. And Jeff, I have to say, I don't know if you're aware, I have spoken at an Occupy movement, and I saw some of the most irrational people there. You came with rationality and reason today. We might not agree on everything, but I appreciate what you brought to the table.
My pleasure, sir.
Ernie White, I can't say the same about you.
No, you can't say it's about you either. So we're even there. We're even.
Ernie, good to see you.
You too.
I wish you luck on that Agenda 21 project.
We'll keep fighting.
And Dan Joseph, thank you for joining us from the Media Research Center in Washington, D.C.
Always a blast, Rick. Thanks.
All right, that's our show, and I thank you, our viewers, for tuning in. And now I leave you with our Amato Mio moment of the day.
Okay, everything seems normal. Oh, and I see you're new to Obamacare as well.
Yeah, I saw the ads and I figured why not?
Take your pants off.
Okay.
All right, hop up here, lay down, and bring your knees to your chest.
Is this necessary?
We'll try to make this quick.
Coming up next on One America News, the House passes a